Hello everyone, welcome to this opposition preview here, and I'm very happy to be joined by my guest. It is Duck from the Purple Rain podcast. Hello, mate.
How you going? You good, Rob?
Look, mate, I've had better weekends with the footy. I'll be brutally honest with you, and we're actually doing this before I do my Monday review show when I've got it all sort of out of my system. So, look, I'm not great. I'll be honest with you. I'm not great. I've seen better days, but I'm sure you can pick me up with some positive energy on your end.
Well, I mean, if you're an Essendon fan, you might as well bottom out. Like, bottom out, play your young fellas. Like, it's sometimes, like with you guys, you've got the long injury list, and we had a similar thing a couple of years ago where, like, if you've got the long injury list, you've just got a blood blokes, and you've got to figure out, like, player 30 to 40 on your list, are they any good? Are they up to it? And if they're not, just bin them. Get rid of them, high turnover, and just get guys in that can play and unearth a few. And look, I know for you guys it's been 20 years of pain and it's been a long time, but again, it's been 10 years for us as well. So, yeah, it hasn't been exactly a smooth road for us, and we're starting to just see some fruits of our labour because, last night was a very tough win in the end, and we tried our hardest to lose. Bloody tried to lose it. Yeah.
You from what I saw of it, you played as though it was actually a North Melbourne home game and not at Optus Stadium. That was my read. I was like, if I just flicked open the AFL app, having not watched a minute of it, and I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, good win for Freo at Docklands. Oh no, that was at Optus Stadium.
Yeah. Oh look, it was we're in control for the majority of the game, and it was just that last. There was a situation right on the siren. Darling kicked a goal, and I'll talk about it tomorrow on our pod. But Nat Fyfe's effort on the goal line, if anyone wants to go back and watch it, and people know I'm not the biggest Nat Fyfe fan anymore, I still rate him and like what he does. He just every now and again what did I say last night? His deficiencies get exposed now because he's old, and he just really average effort on the goal line, just kind of like let the ball go through in a sense. But look, he might have just not been quite switched on to what was going on there. And then, from there, they just piled it on. And then luckily we had Dogger Jackson do a couple of really good things and stuff like that. So, we're lucky.
Yeah, you certainly held on. But look, hey, Nat Fyfe's only 33, mate. If Todd Goltz has anything to go by, he's got another 5 years, good years left in him, mate. He can keep going.
Yeah, well, I'd say the combative nature and the fact that Nat Fyfe's had busted shoulders, busted back, broke his leg twice, and the way he plays, he's just such combative nature. I think this will be his last year. It would really surprise me if he goes around for one more year. I think he'll get to 250 and he'll pull up stumps because he can't, like, he struggles to get through pre-seasons now, which is, and he's put a lot of time and money into his body, but it's just the game is so physical and the way he plays is so physically demanding, and that's why you're starting to see a little bit of Paddy Cripps dropping off and those guys who play that style of game, they get to 30 plus and it's funny. I mean, you're probably in the same camp where you listen to a fair bit of Bill Simmons, and I think that Tom Brady and LeBron James have put everything out of whack because people are like, I can just keep playing, and if I invest money into my body and do all this weird stuff like don't eat strawberries and sleep in a hyperbaric chamber, it'll be all right. But in Australian rules, the fact that it is so combative, makes it really, really hard to continue on. But Big Goldie, I mean, get around him. Do you reckon he expected to play any football this year? Or was he just like, I'm still on the list, like, what's going on? Like, they rang him up, they're like, where are you?
Yeah. I reckon he was like, who knows, maybe a game, but like, he was literally the third choice ruckman, and in 2 weeks we went from being like, geez, we've got so many ruckmen to, we've got no ruckman left available. And it's funny, I spoke about this early on in the season. The reason he obviously can still play, but like, he's the ruck coach and he's on the playing list because it means they can pay him as a player, and he's not included in the soft cap. He's included in the salary cap, and Essendon has lots of money in the salary caps. They're like,
Smart.
hey, why don't you just be the backup ruck? You won't need to play. Don't worry. And then here we are now, and he's played 6-7 games or something, and is probably going to have to play another 10 for the rest of the season. It's insane. Like, it's generally insane, and like, it's always funny. Like, when you're a battling team, I'm sure you'd know you're often looking at what's our average age, what's our average games played, comparing where you are at other clubs, and like he's just kind of fucking our statistics.
Yeah,
because
he's a big outlier.
Yeah, because I think we had like on the weekend, I think we had maybe 7 guys who are 10 games and under, and then you've got Goldie who's 37, 300 and whatever many games.
See, Rob, is this not an opportunity for Essendon to do something weird, which I'd love to see, because I'm massive anti-Ruck, and I've been anti-Ruck since Sandilands lost out to bloody Robbie Campbell, whoever it was, and Hawthorn just literally played big blokes. Like, is it not the opportunity to go, you know what, we're just going to play, like, we're not going to play a Ruckman at all. Let's see what happens. Like, just give it a crack, because, you know, we lost a game a couple of years ago to Silvani and Lewis Young against Carlton, and they didn't just beat us, they like flogged us. And it's like, well, what is the Ruckman doing? And I mean, I don't like to bang on about it because people get into our DMs and be like, Duck, you suck, like, shut up about the Ruck stuff. But I'm honestly like, man, what's the point? Like, buddy, like, let's get freaky. Like, and that's an opportunity for Essendon to be like, you know what, you're coming up against, I nearly said Sandilands, Jackson and Darcy.
Yeah.
Just flip it other way. Like, no, mate, Goldie playing off a 5-day break travelling. No, he's staying in Melbourne. He ain't travelling. Like, let's play Zach Merritt in the Ruck. Like, do something weird. Play an extra midfielder and see what happens.
It's funny you bring this up, because I was actually having a discussion with someone midweek, and because we were talking about Ruckman, and I was going back through it, and I'm fairly certain that since 91, only 4 of the All-Australian Ruckmen have been in the premiership team who've won the flag. Only 4 of them. Like, there's Gawn, I think Cox was one of them, and then like 2 of them are like early 90s. It's like
and
Madden,
I mean, you're talking about
else.
The 2 greatest Ruckmen of all time, Gawn and Cox.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then after that, it's like, well, you might as well just have bloody Robbie Campbell earning nothing, or, you know, whoever it happens to be on whatever list, you know. Like, the Eagles won it with Vardy and Lysette. You know, like, Nick Nat wasn't even playing. So, yeah, it's... look, I just think in the end, you just need a big bloke. Oh, look, last year, Darcy Fort. He literally was, like, sitting at home, probably just chilling out, like, oh, well, good work by the boys, going to win a flag. And then they're like, all right, mate, you're playing. Like, you're in. Yeah, you're in. So,
yeah, I think the issue for us is that not only we're depleted in ruck, we're just generally depleted in big men as a whole. Like, if you go on, like, you know, Footy Wire for Essendon and you search by height, I think in the top 10, I think like 7 of them aren't available right now. So obviously, like, there's the ruck job itself, but like, we just have no big men at all. And, you know, you need a contested mark, you need an outlet option somewhere, and we just kind of don't have them. Like, they played, I mean, you might know him a little bit, Blackiston, who's come out of the Waffle, who is a ruckman. He played centre-half back on the weekend because they were like, well, he's not a defender. We have no key defenders available, and we can't put like a 188-centimetre guy on Shannon Neal, who's 2 metres tall and probably 200 kilos. So... yeah, like, I totally get your point.
Yeah, I think again, like, I'd just be like, look at how the Indigenous All Stars played against us in the preseason. Like, if you don't have big guys, like they had Jeremy Finlayson, and then there was some other random dude in the ruck, they just went like that. And look, the Indigenous boys were quick as, but just like speed on the ball, speed kills. Like, that's the kind of like thing that Scott could do, that just weird, like, because like, you're not going to make finals, you're not like, you say, let's do something that's zag. Everyone's zigging, let's zag, let's go the other way. So that's what I'd be thinking if I was an Essendon fan. So how do you break this rut? It's like, all right, what are we just going to copy everyone, make a final, and then that's it? Like, you've got a real opportunity to do something really weird that I think, like, personally, after watching that Indigenous All-Stars game, I'm like, man, if you just get, like, if you have 18 really quick blokes, like, it's unstoppable, because the ball hit the ground and it was like ping, 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 bang, down the other end. Yeah. And, like, there's no zones that can set up for that, because there was a break of zone by the pace and the speed of hand and the speed of foot. And I was just like, mate, let's get some quick blokes in this team. I think sometimes as well, because if you have, like, 2 quick blokes, they always look crap. You're like, oh, man, this quick guy sucks. Like, we got Jeremy Sharp, and we're currently tracking his possessions per kilometre. And a couple of weeks ago, he had 4 disposals for 16.4 kilometres. So he had...
That's a lot of running.
Yeah. Mate, it's 4.1 Ks for every disposal. And he's just our wingman. And he just... I watched him yesterday with my mate because Oz wasn't at the game. And we were cracking gags about it. And so, oi, get back in position. And he literally runs to a contest and then he runs back onto the wing. And he just doesn't touch it. And he's like, his KPI is to get less than 15 touches. And our win ratio goes through the roof. But when he doesn't touch it, we win way more than when he touches it. It's like, do not get more than 15 disposal, Sharpie. Otherwise, we go from 30% win rate to, if he doesn't touch it more than 15 times, it's 90%. It's so awesome. And he runs big Ks every single game. And it's just so funny. It's just... Yeah.
Just run away from the ball. Just take a man. Just go find some
just
space.
go get your structure. Go over to that far wing, mate. And stay over there.
Yeah,
and just,
that's great. That's great. Yeah, look, sadly, knowing Brad Scott, he's a conservative operator. And as much as I'd love to see him put, I don't know, Isaac Kako in the ruck on the weekend just to throw a spanner in the works, I don't think he will. Do you know what I actually think is going to happen? I think we're going to see our 11th debutant, because there's another ruckman who's 19 and he got held over in the VFL on the weekend. So, like you said, Goldie off a 5-day break. I think there's a real chance that we're seeing a 19-year-old, a bit of a baptism of fire against two of the better rucks in the competition. He's one of those guys he'll go play, VFL, and you'll have 50 hit outs, but you're like, does that mean much? I don't know.
Yeah. We got a guy like that at the moment, Liam Reedy, and he just dominates hit outs. And he's starting to get a lot of touches as well, but he's come up to AFL level, and you're like, ugh, this guy's not great. And look, he's inside the 4 walls, they mustn't think he's that good, because we've played pretty much an unfit Sean Darcy instead, and we're really keen on playing this 2 ruck combo. So, it's one of those ones where you just I'd actually be surprised if Darcy plays. Just for the pure fact, if Goldstein's not going to play and you've just got Jackson in there doing the ruck. Patrick Voss does a really good job as the backup. He's just a body, gets in there.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting that both teams coming off. I kind of don't get why we're playing on a Thursday.
Neither.
I love us in prime time. I like that. I like the fact that, BT is going to be commentating or whatever. But I also don't like that there's 4 teams on a bye at the moment. Why aren't they one of those? Why aren't they playing on Thursday night? Crossing the country off a 5-day break is pretty crazy. In anyone's book, and it's actually avoidable because you've got teams on the bye. So, it's a weird one. I don't know what's your thoughts? And you might have said it, and you might be prepped. But what is your thoughts on this bye situation?
Because we played opening round.
Yeah.
And
but you didn't play.
We didn't play. So I think the fixture is fucked. I think it's an absolute. It's all over the place. I don't mind the mid-season bye. I think that's fair enough. But our problem is we didn't play opening round. Then we had a bye in round 4, and then we had another one, and then now we're going to play Gold Coast when our season's already been done in round 24 and a half, whatever it's going to be. I think the fixture is an absolute mess. And there's obviously all the talk about Tassie, and I've said it on the show before. Look, it'd be great for Tassie to have a team, but I don't want a 19th team until we know that the 20th is ready to go, because the fixture is already bad enough as it is. So you're telling me that every week there's going to be someone missing out? This is a professional league. This isn't bloody Div 3 Werribee.
And they're team pulled out last minute. We're not going to change the fixtures. So every 3rd week you've got to buy stuff like that. You just
Exactly.
I don't. It's pretty funny because anytime we talk about in my group of mates about the AFL doing something better, my mate just goes, they can't even get round 1 right. We can't even get the first round right. And it's pretty funny. I had a very, very interesting situation happen to me last night where after the game, do the podcast, obviously, and I'm waiting at the elevators and there's this bloke standing there and I was like, geez, that bloke looks familiar. And I was like, oh, mate, you're going to wait forever for the elevators. There's drunk people up in the boxes and they don't know how to get in. They press the wrong button. So just come up the stairs with me and open up doors for him. And anyway, I'm walking out and he goes, "Oh, it's exit out here." And I was like, yeah, come, just follow me. Anyway, one of the journos over here, quarters, that I know quite well, was like, "Oh, Duck, how you going?" I was like, "Yeah, good, mate." "Oh, Andrew, how are you?" "Mate, it's Andrew Dillon." So I sat there and had a 5-minute conversation with Andrew Dillon and Glenn Quartermain. And I was just like, and I'm sitting there going, Andrew, like, who is Andrew? And I was like, is this guy, like, because he looked like I was like, is he a Dockers executive that I don't know? Is he a board member? Is he the chairman? Like, because we got a chairman you don't really see much.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit, it's the chairman of, like, it's the CEO of the AFL. Like,
he's the big dog.
Yeah, big dog, just chilling by himself. And I felt like saying to him, "Mate, give me 5 more minutes and I'll tell you everything you're doing wrong, bud." Like, just, it's not that hard. Like, I think there's, like anything in footy, it's like they get, I don't know. I actually don't know who likes this buy stuff because the media are complaining about it.
Yeah. The
fans complain about it. It sucks for fantasy footy. It sucks for tipping. No one likes it. Yet we do it. Like, like this whole thing's made up. Like, it's not, we're not like bound by like this external being's laws or anything. Like, we're going to get struck down if we don't do it right. So I just don't understand. I'm like, just change it to, like, and I think the big thing is like the fantasy stuff that a lot of people play fantasy and it's a big kick in the nuts during fantasy. So it's like, just have 1 week off, give everyone a bye and make it like local footy ground and go down and watch your local footy and
play like the under 18s.
Yeah,
like
play the under 18s
games.
tournament. Like, people would love to watch that stuff. Like, WA got smashed by South Australia today, but like, if you know it's on and you're like, if you've got that real, I've got to watch footy. It's like, man, have a week off. Like, I don't know what you're like, but in a sense, and look, you've been doing the pod about as long as us, and the Dockers haven't been that successful in Essendon either. So you kind of actually do get a bit worn down by it because you're like, oh man, like last week when we didn't play, it was kind of like, all right, I'm not like it's not that it dictates my weekend, but it also does have a big influence on what's the podcast going to be like. I'm going to talk about these guys being crap. Like after the St Kilda game where we got flogged, it was like, it did ruin my weekend because I'm like, wait, it was happening on a Friday night. All I'm talking about with my mates is just how shit the Dockers are. Yeah. Then on Monday at work, because everyone knows I do the pod, they're like, what about the Dockers? I'm like, yeah, blow it up. Like, get rid of them all, And it's like, it's always a big, in Fremantle, and like we celebrate and exacerbate everything. So like we win and it's book the bus, flag mantle, watch out for us, and we lose and it's like blow up the club close it down, like, so it's all we do. Our fan base is very, very bipolar in a sense in the way we go about things, because when we lose it's like it honestly is end of the world, and when we win it's like we're going to win the flag, we've got it in the bag, when realistically we're just a pretty average side all the time,
I think we've certainly been worn down, particularly the last 3 years. Last year in particular, like the fact that we, in round 17 or something, we're top 4, and then it blew up the way that it did. I think I've noticed this season in particular that there's a real apathy amongst Essendon supporters. There's a real maybe it's a bit of an acceptance. Everyone going, look, we're clearly not very good. People looked at the list pre-season. It's like, look, we're not very good. It's a rebuilding year. And there is just a lot of like, oh, well, we got flogged. And like, I'll see comments online of people being like, I can't believe it, we got to sack the board. And I'm like, we did that 3 years ago. We don't need to do that again. Let's just, we're just where we are. So, yeah.
And the hard thing is, you've just got to bottom out. And I think Richmond have set a really good precedent. It's like, you just got to bottom out hard. Get rid of, like, keep a couple of blokes, but get rid of everyone who's going to be worth any trade value, and just get young fellas in the door, get games into them. And look, if you win, like, look at, there's no doubt you've got Richmond fans in your life that are like, we've won 3 games. How good is this? This is like unbelievable. Like, whereas if you said to a Dockers or an Essendon fan, oh, you're going to win 3 games this year, you'd be like, we're another year of this, So
disaster.
Yeah, and look, it comes with how you do rebuild and the guys you can get in the door, but it's just, it seems so crazy. I think the big thing that I always go back to, which is really interesting, is I remember when they got rid of Kevin Sheedy, Rob, and this is this seared in my memory. And Kevin Sheedy said, when you get rid of long-term coaches from any club in any sport, that club is in the doldrums for a long, long time. But he was like Jock McHale, Norm Smith. Like he went through all the AFL examples, but he was like also Alex Ferguson. Yep. You know, Bill Belichick at the Patriots. I can't see them like coming out of and even you know. So it becomes a thing where the coach becomes essentially the club. And then it just, it's really hard to recover from that. So, you know, it's only been, 25 years for you guys, or 20?
Yeah, exactly. And look, there was a thing that occurred in the mid 2010s that I think really put everything back. And like we've spoken about before in our pod, like, look, I don't think that team would have won a premiership, but there was no question that team, if all that stuff didn't happen, would have won a final, would have played some finals. They were good. They were on the right track. Everything was going well before that happened, and then that occurs and it sets you back another 10 years, and now we're in that position. Yeah. I think the fear that I know I've spoken to some Essendon supporters that they've had is that, you know, and look, Brad has kind of a bit of history with this with North Melbourne, that they might cut too deep. You know, I made the joke to a mate that's, you know, it's a bit like the Mines of Moria in Lord of the Rings. You go too deep, you're going to summon a fucking demon, and the club's going to be fucked forever, which is kind of what happened with North, that they just cut the list too much. And it's going to be a really fascinating end of the season for Essendon, because I think there are guys who aren't that old that I think are probably going to get moved on because they just don't think that they're good enough. Yeah. There's obviously older heads, which is a pretty easy conversation. Like, it's very easy to tell Dylan Shield, who's stuck in the VFL, that you're not getting another contract. But to move on a top 10 draft pick who isn't performing, these are the risky moves what's going to happen. I guess the promising thing for us is that we finally have a new list manager. Matt Rose has come in the last year or two, and look, he's making moves, and he's been picking players who are role players, which just hasn't happened for a long time. It was always like best available, and then you get to this year and you're like, why do we have 8 inside midfielders and we can't play them all? Why has that happened? You know, and that's what's kind of making me up and about, is that like there are guys who've played in the last few weeks who are, you know, pretty high picks. Like there's this guy Zach Johnson who should play on the weekend, but I'm fairly certain was pick 70, and he's got a fucking kick on him, man. And like he was taking the kick outs against Geelong, and like he had a couple of turnovers, but like I'm watching this and I'm like, that's a guy. This is a guy we can persist with. Other guy, Angus Clark, who's played on the wing, played a bit of half back. Again, you know, highish pick, I think like maybe late 30s or 40 something off the top of my head. And you're like, okay, this is something worth persisting with. Instead of just like, oh, here's this top 10 pick, we've got to play him, and he gets in. You're like, this guy sucks. Like, it's fun getting around young players. We did one of these with a Bulldogs podcast, and the guy was talking about that. He goes, when your team sucks, you just got to find a few players every week and go, I'm just going to pay attention to him, see how he goes, and that's going to bring my joy when you're expecting to lose. And like, I think that's what a lot of us are hanging our heads on, really, is just going, this kid's all right, this kid's all right, and be positive about that, rather than, you know, the 10 blokes you're like, well, they're not going to be here next year. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's one of those things as well where if you have a bad draft, and you guys were unlucky that a couple of one of your drafts was during COVID, wasn't it? Where you kind of you had those picks inside and it, like, that was a mystery draft. Like we've got Josh Tracy in the rookie list from that draft, so you know, it was really people, and like we spoke to him about his draft year, and he's like, man, I played one game of footy, and then we had like a training session where I think Jamara let me take a couple of marks because he was just dominating, and he was like, oh, this guy's a good bloke, and he let me take a couple, and then Dockers were like, oh yeah, we'll pick you up, and like, he's one of the better forwards in the competition. So, but I mean, crazy. That's the other thing as well. Like, you've got to hit, like you've said, on those later rounds, the guys who are the worker bees, who are solid B players and not just C minus, and when they get exposed, all of a sudden they're D grade players. So that's a part of it, and the development of players and the cutting of the soft cap. I think personally, I'm not a massive fan of how the soft cap's been cut, and I think I'm always like, do Essendon make a profit every year?
Pretty sure. Obviously, there's probably like around the saga, we didn't. Obviously, a lot of
Yeah.
legal costs, but
But like you guys make money,
like
you've got big members. Like we make money every year, and I'm kind of like, I'm always like, because like we're at a disadvantage being over here in Western Australia. Like the top grade coaches that are in Victoria will not reallocate to Western Australia for essentially a thruppity bit which they get for being assistant coaches and working 80-hour weeks. Yeah. So it's like, all right, I would rather the club make zero money, like don't make a profit at all. And just invest that 1.3, 1.5, $2.6 million we make every year in the soft cap. Go over it, pay the tax.
Agreed.
It's like when, like Bill Simmons talks about owners paying the luxury tax in basketball. It's like, why not go over it? Like, why are we making a profit? I like this. This is it's a big thing that I've been on the last couple of years. But I'd love to sit down with someone who's got a bit of an idea of like, okay, we went through the worst economic crisis in our lifetime. There was no one at games. We cut the rounds to 17. The AFL survived. Every club survived. Okay? So why do we need to make a profit? For what reason? Like, we've got a state-of-the-art facility, like, at Coburn Arc. Like, it's state-of-the-art. What do we, like... Let's get more development coaches. Yeah. Let's pay more people. Let's pay more sports fitness
100%,
guys.
100%.
Pay more weird people to get in there and get in people's ears. But, it's something that I know, like the soft cap coming in, it just, for me, I think it was I know there was a spending war, but for me, I'm just like, man, like what was the point and why don't we go over it?
Yeah. It's one of the things that I've actually really liked from Brad Scott this year, where I actually think he's been the number one guy pushing this with the AFL, because he was obviously working at the AFL through that period, saw it all change, and I guess the reason why Essendon brought him in was that because he's at the AFL, he's kind of seen under the hood of most of the clubs in the comp going, all right, this is what's going on, and he just knew coming in, it's like, we just need more people, we need to pay assistant coaches more, we need more coaches, we need more of this, more of this, more of this, and I'm with you, like I think off the field, like player salary cap good. Off the field, you should be able to spend as much money as you want.
Yeah.
Like let people do that. Why not? If some clubs want to spend it, some clubs don't. That's fine by me. Like I don't care.
And that will it create a lack of the parity that we want in the competition? Well, the competition's already weird. We play 24 rounds when there's 18 teams, and it's just like luck of the draw. Who do you play twice? Pretty much like. Half the teams are in Melbourne. Yeah. Weird. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just the competition isn't even anyway. So let the teams, and you know what? I think the Eagles would probably be not as bad as what they are now if they just let them spend. They got $80 million in the bank. It just sits there. Like it's no one's money. It just sits there, and they're like, "Oh, we'd love to spend it," but they don't. Like I'm always like, let's just spend the money. Who cares? Yeah. I buy the what do the members actually want? Do they want a balance sheet premiership or do they want a goddamn premiership? You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't give if we lost 10 million, I'd be like, if they said to every member, you have to pay $1,000 or $10,000 and it guarantees a flag, mate, book me in. Yeah. Day one, I'm there. Like, I cannot wait. Like, when we win a flag, it's going to be the biggest, like, relief more than anything now because it's been 30 years of just pretty crap. You know, we had 5 good years in 30. So, you had to run it. But you're right. Like, no one's sitting there at the end of the season celebrating the fact that the club's made a profit, apart from maybe the CEO, who's like, okay, cool, there's some money we can put here. But if it's not being put into the football department, like, I don't care. We don't need to hire, like, some more marketing people or some more people at the fucking merchandise place. Like, let's just get the team to be good. I think that's what matters. I do want to ask you, just a little bit about the Dockers this season, because you had a bit of a shaky start, and I could imagine there would have been a bit of worry going on. But the ship has certainly steadied. How have you seen the first half of the year play out? Yeah, it's again, tale of two teams really. Started off pretty average. Lost to Sydney. They're no good. So that was a bit of a heartbreaker and dumb decision by Patrick Voss. Misses a goal, then centres the ball when he should be. If he goes boundary side, we win the game. Got flogged by Geelong down in Geelong. Went to that game. Like, just like absolutely brutalised. Like Geelong are just their foot on the throat merchants as well. So they, as you would have witnessed,
we know.
And then steadied the ship, won the games we needed to win, and then all of a sudden we played Melbourne actually, and we lost that game, and Melbourne hadn't won a game. And it seems like we come up against teams, and this is where I'm worried this week. We come up against these teams that are under pressure, getting hammered by the Melbourne media, and we're like, shut the fuck up. Like, don't say a goddamn thing. Like, and then they get up and they beat us. We beat Adelaide, then we lost to St Kilda, and the St Kilda loss was just like, oh my days. Like, it honestly was like panic stations. Everyone's off J-Lo. And then the boys, they like the win against Gold Coast away, the win against GWS away, really great victories.
The Gold Coast one in particular, I watched that. That was good.
Gold Coast, and like it's like, and like it's hard because I think there's a lot of Dockers fans that are like they watch Sean Darcy play, and this is where the big crux of a lot of the stuff comes from. They watch Sean Darcy play, he hasn't been very good, but the stats say that when we play 2 ruckmen, we win. You know, that's the thing, and that's what I'm like. I'm torn because I watch the game and I see Luke Jackson go on the ruck, and I'm like, this guy is the best. He's the best ruckman. He's one of the best ruckmen in the comp. He's great around the ground. Keep him in the ruck. When he goes forward, he's average. But then we bring back Sean Darcy and we continue to win, and you just kind of like, oh man, I want Dogger Jackson in the ruck all the time, and that's what they're trying to do. So yeah, look, it's been a real up and down season, but again, like you're saying with the younger sides, like we are the younger side. We were talking about it yesterday, and apart from Luke Ryan, Corey Wagner's like our second oldest bloke on the list. Who played yesterday, apart from Fife and Ryan. Then it was like Wags, and Wags just played his 50th game. So, you know, we've got a lot of young blokes. We've managed to, like, Murphy Reid is just, Brucey, man. He's just too smart. He, like, you can see when you watch the game, he doesn't like the tough stuff. He understands that. He hasn't got the body for it yet, but he is so intelligent that he just does things that you just like. And him and Shea Bolton, like, they're too smart to be Dockers players, man. Like, we've upgraded so well in our forward line. Patrick Voss has really come on. I don't know. I've heard a couple of whispers about him, but I don't know why you guys got rid of him. Didn't he dominate the VFL? Like,
yeah, he did really well in the VFL. My understanding was there was a little bit of unprofessionalism that they weren't happy with.
Yeah,
and
that's
Brad Scott's great. Yeah, and look, this is the thing. Like, this is where some people kind of get divided with Scott and what he's done so far. Is he really came in and goes, I don't want players who, yeah, right, you're good on the field, but you bring a lot of bullshit. So that's why Stringer went. Obviously, Nick Hine got delisted, and then Paddy Voss. Like, and look, he was very good in the VFL, but I did feel at that time he was probably one of those guys, like we spoke with those ruckmen, where he would have come to the AFL and probably wouldn't have done much. And because I think Waddy's probably had 1 or 2 seasons with you guys before he's really sort of taken that big leap this year.
Yeah, this was his second season, but like you said, mature age pick as well. Like he's done pre-seasons at Essendon and stuff like that, and he was in the GWS Academy since he's like 11 years old. So he's been around footy clubs for a long time. It's a tough one with Paddy, but like he's been great. You know, with Bolton and Murphy Reid, like I said, Dudley come in, showed us something. Our midfield, like Sarong and Brayshaw, are just like that is the midfield, Sarong and Brayshaw, and the KPI is just them getting 60 touches together, and we win like 90% of the time. Like they just need to get 60, and they just do it. And Brayshaw is so good defensively, and Sarong is such a good clearance player. They just, even though they're not the fastest and they're not the biggest, together they are just brilliant. And it's interesting. I saw because Brayshaw and Sarong are really good mates with Adam Chera, obviously. And I saw they had a photo of with Chera this morning. I was like, man, I wonder if Chera, how would he go at the Dockers at the moment? Like, you know, because he was that silk. So, you know, we've had Hayden Young, but he's been injured. So that's a bit of a bummer. Jordan Clark's had a brilliant year across halfback. Brennan Cox has really stepped up in Alex Pearce's absence and has had a really great month of footy. Yeah, and it's been all the younger blokes stepping up, and it's been a lot of just good footy here and there, and when we go quick and when we play with a bit of ball on the like speed on the ball, we do look good. when we go sideways and we're just some of the blokes that touch the ball, you're just like, what are you doing, mate? Idiot peel, like get rid of it. And I got to do a bit of a deep dive because my brother gave me a bit of a funky stat that I want to back up tomorrow on the pod about Luke Ryan not touching the ball. I know I said Jeremy Sharp not touching the ball, but Luke Ryan, as great as he is, and he might go down as our best defender ever just purely on All Australians. Like, he's the only one to get 2 All Australians. That's how bad our defence has usually been. But he honestly holds on to the ball for too long. And then he switches it sideways 20 metres. And you're just like, man, you're really killing us here. Or he kicks it 50 metres down the line to a contest. And then you look at his stats, you go, oh, 20 kicks, 100% efficiency. Well, you know.
We've got one of those, don't worry. We've got plenty of those getting around.
But don't get me wrong, he's a great player. He just needs to touch it less. Like some guys just don't. If they're touching it a heap, you're in a bit of trouble anyway. Yeah,
that's like Laverty for us. He's gone from being the VFL defender to our number one key defender just on who's available. I think the thing for this weekend and is what I've learnt, particularly from the Carlton game, and I guess the Brisbane game as well, is that if Fremantle relax, lose focus, we will take the game.
Get ready for it, mate, because we will not focus.
Yeah.
We are like an ADD kid in a time zone, bud. It is just lights and flashes everywhere, and we're not concentrating on a goddamn thing. Look at us on the weekend.
Yeah,
like we're just like, oh, North Melbourne. Hey, do you guys want to kick some goals and make this game tight?
Yeah,
we cannot just win a game and just have a nice, easy win, and that's it. And you just flog a team, and you're happy, and you're up by 5 goals at quarter time, and it becomes 7 goals, then 9 goals, then 11 goals, and you have a good day. It's always like, all right, we're up by 5 goals. Now we're down by 2 goals. Then we're back up by 3 goals. And then they're coming for us. Like, it's never just nice and easy, and the heart rate stays nice and steady. But hopefully that's what can happen on Thursday night. But we don't like the bright lights. We don't like Friday night. We don't like Thursday night. We're Sunday afternoon. Saturday night's probably about as good as what we'll get and what we want. But Friday and Thursday night, no. Don't get us on that big stage because we crap the bed. It's like and I think this is the other thing as well, and this comes with the immaturity of the squad. We are the biggest bathwater drinkers in the world. Oh, how good are we? We're going great guns. I tell you how good you are. We've won 1 final in 10 years. We're doing shithouse. We've been shithouse since bloody 2015. So just chill out, relax. Let's start winning. Just keep winning, and that's been a real focus from J-Lo, 1 week at a time. And I know it's old school, but it's actually what we needed. We needed, all right, you won this game, but we're all focused on next week, because you haven't won shit yet.
Yeah,
we haven't and it's one of those things that I think JL will really drive into the players, and hopefully, and we hear it a lot from the players, which is really good, and that's what you want to see is just like. Because anytime we get too far ahead of ourselves, and the fans have been looking at it, North Melbourne, then Essendon, then St Kilda, hello, 3 in a row, we'll be locked in for top 4. It's like, no. Let's just win the next game. Win the next one. Yeah.
Exactly. Because, I think what will like Essendon will attack. That's the thing. That they're like, as the Geelong game proved, doesn't matter how bad we're going, how much we're down, they won't shut up the shop. Not to say that they could have really done it against Geelong, but they'll still try and butt off kicks. They'll still try and move it through the corridor. And it really just depends on whether Freo just lock it in or, like you said, they switch off thinking that the game might be done, because we've started incredibly bad most first quarters through this season. So I would expect to see Fremantle up 5 goals to 2, something like that at quarter time. And then half time is it a bit closer. 3/4 time is a bit closer again. And then suddenly it's a bit of a shaky last term. Can I ask, there's obviously been over here in the East, we only hear usually the bad news, particularly coming out of the WA clubs. If you don't make finals, do you think J-Lo will be there next year? Or do you think it's really riding on that? Because that's what we hear over here. But it might not be the full story.
Jungle Drums will come for him, mate. And it's one of those things, Rob, where I think realistically he moved on to this ongoing contract, which I don't even know what that means. Like no one knows what it means. No one knows, and rather than having its effect of taking the pressure off J-Lo, it actually put more pressure on him, I think. But look, it is that stuff where, yeah, we're still the youngest side and we're the youngest by games played and all this and blah, blah, blah. But we've had 10 years of misery. We've had one final series that we've won. And that's the hard thing as well, is that we think that development and success is linear when we know it's not. So we obviously made that semi-final a couple of years ago, and realistically since then, like that was a really bright spot, and we were up and about, and then we didn't play blokes that we wanted to pay. Guys left the club. We got more inexperience, so we dropped down a bit more. We lost games we should have won. Like, we lost to you guys. Like, we were you talked about being top four, mate. We were second last year, and then we lost 4 games in a row, and we didn't make the finals. And we actually had the opportunity against Port Adelaide at home. St Kilda beat Carlton, and we were sitting there in the press box, and it was like, all right, and the fans are cheering and fired up, and we laid an egg. And look, we had injuries to crucial people at key times, like Big Dick Cyclone, Josh Tracy, and Alex Pearce going down at the end of the year really crippled us, because like Josh Tracy was on such a heater, and it was one of those things where I don't know if he would have got back. I reckon he would have for a final, just that extra week off, and Pearce probably would have got back as well, but yeah, just killed us in the end. And that really hurt J-Lo, and it really hurt like the fans, and the fans of, you know, people say long suffering, and we've got a couple of media people over here that are Dockers people that are like, oh, stop saying you're long suffering. You won this many games in the 2010s, but it's like, nah, our club's been split into 3 lots of 10-year periods. 95 to 2005 was an absolute joke. 2005 to 2015 we were good, and then from 2016 onwards we have been terrible. We've made one final series. Like, it's not. You know, and we get guys in. Oh, we'll bring WA blokes home, mate. WA blokes leave. They don't care. Like, our WA guys are the guys we can't hold on to. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where I think if J-Lo, if we don't make the finals, I think the Jungle Drums will be beaten for him very hard, and there's no reason why we wouldn't get rid of him. I just think he's had his time. He's been there. He's like been here 6-7 years. So
yeah, wow.
And the issue with J-Lo is that he is, if you watch all the coaches, he is ranked 18th for media, because he's not a media dude. He's super intelligent, and he revs up the boys. And look, our media team try to get as much stuff out of him when he's in his natural environment, which is talking to the players. And, you know, they put out a couple of little clips here and there, but you can't go too inside making the sausage when it comes to inside the inner sanctum, and, like, not that it really matters, but because this is how he does his interviews. All right, we lose a game. Yeah, yeah, we could have done better in and he's just a guy, and it just
like Ben Rutten, yeah.
Oh my days, and it just, the confidence of the fans just go, this bloke doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's one of those things, like, when you don't exude confidence, if you don't show you're a leader, people are like, this guy sucks. And as well, the issue with J-Lo is he's always juxtaposed by Ross Lyon, who is the number one presser guy. You like,
he loves it.
Sometimes I watch St Kilda pressers just to listen to Ross Lyon talk, and I'm like, he's the best. He's the best.
I'm not sure if you saw this. I saw this stat. Some amazing person to do that. I saw this on Twitter. Someone said, so when St Kilda win, Ross's first press conference response is average like 30 seconds. When they lose, his first response averages like 3 minutes. And he said that he thinks the theory is that when they lose, he just deliberately waffles on at the start so that he doesn't have to answer too many questions. And I'm like, fuck, that's smart. Just like, I'm just going to get in there and just talk some nonsense, and then one more person will be allowed another question.
Yeah, I think he's really good at taking the pressure away from the players. You know, he's really good at that. Like before the like even before the Gold Coast game, just saying like these guys are the Nepo babies. It puts all the, like, they got flogged by Gold Coast, but all the pressure goes back on Ross and nothing on the players. So he protects his players. So the issue with Ross is that he doesn't have a good forward. Like that, he needs a good forward. Revolt and Pavlich, yeah, 2 generational centre forwards. Like that's his whole game plan is based around having a great centre half forward, and then he'll work it out from there. You know,
Max King can't get on the park.
Oh yeah, poor Maxie.
I'll ask you one more question before we wrap up. Now, we obviously are a very depleted list, but is there a name or two who you're keen to see? You maybe concerned about what they might be able to do on the big stage.
Oh, look, I love Nick Martin. I taught Nick. He's a great kid. He's from TC. It's so funny because people come up to me and they're like, "You spoke about Nick Martin in 2018." Like, I was talking about him when he was playing at Subi. Like, he's just the epitome of he does not look what he is, because he's the biggest, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, he was the biggest nerdy looking kid. His glasses were like pushed right against his nose, and he's like right, and he had like a snotty nose all the time, and he'd always sniff, and he'd be like, "Hey, Mr. Elmo," and you're just like, what is it? And then you talk to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's the fairest and best of the first basketball and the first footy," and he's like, you'd go watch him on the weekend and you'd be like, Nick Martin? How good is this kid? And we had a really good year group that year of footy players, and he was just like out of this world good, and you're just like, whoa, this guy's the guy. So, he's one I love to watch, and I'm a massive Nick Martin fan. I think as well, I don't mind seeing a bit of Kako and stuff like that. Like, he seems like a bit of a different cat. Caldwell I love. I had Caldwell in my dream team a couple of years ago. I picked him up in my fantasy, and he's just a pig. He loves it. And look, he gets around it, and he does stuff with it. He's not like who's your mate Parrish, who gets 57 touches, and it goes about 40 metres gained is about 40, and he gets a couple of hand passes around the back and stuff like that. So they're the guys I'd love to see, and I think I don't mind a bit of 2 metre, Peter. And I'm like, is Caddy playing? Is Caddy up and about?
Caddy will play.
Caddy will play. I love seeing big forwards. Like, we watched Sam Darcy at the start of the year, and I was like, holy Mary, no one's going to beat this guy. Yeah. Like, I shut, because he's like all these 200 centimetre players, and my missus has the best saying. I love this. So she went and watched footy with me one day, and Rory Lobb was playing. Oh no, she might not have been watching it with me. She's like, Rory Lobb reminds me of a netballer, because she played a lot of netball in her day. A netballer who was tall when she was young, and her only skill is being tall. Like, her skill is I'm tall, so just kick it to me. And that's what Rory Lobb's like. I think that's what the King brothers are like. I think that's a lot of really tall, these 200 centimetre key forwards that are just big. They're like, but Sam Darcy is like,
he's a freak. He's
a footy player who also just happens to be 200 centimetres. And I just think this guy is he's gonna rip the competition apart. And if he, I think Western Bulldogs, if they finish in the top 8, look out. They are, he's just unstoppable. And it's really sad that Jamara has gone the way he's gone, because I think you put Naughty Boy, bloody, Aaron Norton, Jamara Uga-Hagan and Darcy in that forward line with Cody Waitman, like, nipping at their feet, and the way West has come up and got better, like, they're just, but they just can't defend. They cannot defend. Just kick more goals than the Oppo. That's all you got to do.
Just kick more goals. Yeah, they absolutely smashed up. Look, I obviously it'll be good for us, chance, but I hope for your sake, I hope you get to see Nate Caddy play well, because he's not your 200 type. He's more of your Jeremy Cameron, 190-ish forward, but his ability to impact high up the ground and then just get on the bike, and his athleticism is crazy. Like, it's happened a few times this season where I've bet better games, or mates who go for other teams have gone watch Essendon play someone else, and I'll get a text like an hour after the game being like, geez, that Caddy kid's a freak. I'm like, yeah, he is. So I'm hoping you get to see him put on a bit of a show, at least do some things, because Geelong didn't offer him up any opportunities to get near the ball, because that's what they do. But hopefully we can actually hit him on a lead, and he can take a mark or two and maybe do something, because he's an exciting machine. Is there someone that the Dons faithful should keep an eye out for on the weekend?
I think the guy to just keep an eye out on is Corey Wagner. Like, him and Carl Warner. So Carl Warner will probably play in the long sleeves, number 23, and Corey Wagner will have the man bun with the beard. And those guys, like, they're scrap heap guys a little bit. Like, Wag's third club, like, didn't win many games at Melbourne, didn't win many games at North, and he's here at the Dockers, and he just does a bit on the wing, and he really generates through his legs, runs, carries, kicks the ball long. He had like that we kicked like four goals in like 5 minutes last night, and that pretty much set up the game. and it was because Wagner got 4 or 5 touches and just set everything up and kicked a goal himself in the end. And yeah, Carl Warner, the Swede, he's back pocket and just like he just goes about it pretty well. And he started off his career as a bit of a he was a wingman, and then he was a cat 10. Which we call cat 10s when you just turn it over and the opposition kicks a goal. That's a cat 10. We took it from our mates at Dork Talk, but we're cat 10 specialists. The other guy, to look out for is our number one, just absolute whipping boy, Bailey Banfield, who's moved from a half forward to a half back, and he's just reinvented himself.
Wow.
We thought Banners was gone. R.I.P. Banners. So we're following him at Peel. He's had 2 touches up to half-time in this game for Peel. Then he's kicked 3 goals and had 15 touches in the second half of the game. Someone's got injured. He's come back in as sub. Then, I can't remember who got injured. Someone got injured in the back line. And they're just all right, we're going to have to put Banners in the back line. And he just played. And he played really well. And then the next week he played well. And then last night he played well. And he just I see it, but I don't believe it because the guy is dead set. He just sucks at footy, and he just manages to get games, and you're just fair dukes to the bloke. He just and he's a ripper bloke. He is. He's an awesome guy, but he just every time we lose, I'm like, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Leave him in Melbourne, stuff like that. So those guys, and obviously the young fella Murphy Reid. Just keep an eye on him. He'll do some things where you just little tap, soccer on. He last couple of weeks ago, he soccered the ball through the goals. Now, that might sound like a normal thing, but I reckon 99 out of 100 Dockers would have picked that ball up, got tackled into the ground, and then threw the goals for a try-style rush behind. And, he just does that, And
it's the young guys. I think it's same with this young generation because Kaka's done it, Caddy's done it a couple of times. They just, off the deck, they just go for it.
They're just smart. They're just smart.
Okay, they just go for it.
And every now and again, you get last night. There was a guy from Kangaroos who just went to soccer it, missed the ball, and everyone's like, "Oh, pick it up." And I'm like, "Nah, I reckon that was a good idea. You just missed the ball. 9 times out of 10, just soccer it through. That's how you get. You don't need to pick it up if you can just kick. It counts. Counts the same. Name's written in the book the same. Goal. It doesn't say brackets. Sockered it like a weirdo. It just says goal. So that's what you want.
Love it. Dark, you've been very generous with your time. It's been fantastic to get you on and
Thanks,
have a good chat. I'm very much looking forward to the Thursday night's game. I'm also very happy that Matt Tabbert no longer plays for Fremantle and won't kick 10. So very
How
much
close were you guys to picking up Tabs? Because he was your bunny, wasn't he? He was your Reece Stanley, as we like to call him, Reece Stanley played his one good game against the Dockers for St Kilda.
He was just our kryptonite. I'm actually sure I don't know if we were or not. I think they were thinking about it at some point, but
surely,
yeah, I don't know. I think Peter Wright kind of was doing enough that they're okay, we don't need him. I mean, we gave Sam Wiedemann another year of AFL, so maybe that was
mate. If you don't like Vossi as a weird unit, Tabs is the number one weirdest bloke. We'd ask the players after every game, who's the weirdest unit, and they're all without you finish that weirdest, and they're Tabs.
Yeah.
And they're just he is a different cat. He's off this planet weird. So, he's a different cat. But he would have been good. I would have loved to see him play for the Dons.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
I'm sure there's a few clubs in the AFL crying out for a key forward, so maybe someone else will pick him up. But, Duck, great to have a chat, mate. Best of luck for Thursday night, and hopefully it's a good contest.
Yeah, hopefully.